The memories are becoming more clear. When I woke up, her voice echoed through my head. I'm trying to remember. Who's behind all of this? Who of Aelion's people have forged an alliance with the god of death? I beg you, Adept, find a way to deliver me from these powers of darkness, for the sake of all of Aelion.
Laertes is not feeling any better. He's hanging in there, but how much longer can this go on? What happened to him is terrible, but we can turn him back into a human. You know, I've thought about this a lot. If there is a particle of another god's ether body in Laertes, then where is his own ether body? I've sent my best adepts, mediums, and mentalists out to search for it. If his ether body is still in Aelion, they'll find it and bring it back. Our dear Tiberius told us that his machine for transferring an ether body will be ready soon. We must not waste any precious time, so my alchemists and healers have started preparing for the ritual that will bring Laertes back. They'd be happy to have some help. One of them, Travius, went to Artonis Valley. I haven't heard anything from him in a very long time.
Another one of my ingenious... It's a prototype. We are going to see if there are any side effects.
Glad to see you again. I'm sorry I wish I could bring you good news, but alas, Laertes isn't getting any better. We think, Thais thinks, that Laertes can be saved. I was in Ignum Monastery. See, I was looking for something. I know it sounds weird, but a few years ago there was a fully functional laboratory in Ignum. They were making medicaments for the immortals there. Painkillers, sedatives. I didn't expect to find any samples. Just the research data. Then Thais alchemists would be able to prepare the medicine ourselves.
I hear you need my help again. I left a communicator for you in a very nice spot.
I'm starting to get worried. This week,
What a nightmare, but he was lucky.
You're making it hard to keep a low profile, guys. First the prison, now you need an ancient archive from the Ignum laboratory? I'm just kidding. Don't worry about it. I'll welcome any opportunity to mess with Flavius. The archives that you're in need of are on protected servers. They're constantly improving their security system. So, I'm gonna need your help. You'll need to cause some congestion. Sounds confusing, no? That's fine. It's very simple. You're gonna need to find a way to get into the Taron power station and do a couple of things.
It's a prototype. We are going to see if there are any side effects.
Warning. Core health 75%.
This station is one of Flavius's experiments. The people are lucky he built it in a remote area, not in the center of some city. Trust me, he would.
I don't remember you. Are you new? Well, hello, young blood. You don't remember me? Well, fame comes and goes. My name is Aquilia. 3 years ago, my pantheon was on a roll. Do you remember the Steel Titans? That's the one. Okay, whatever. People are ungrateful idiots, both mortal and immortal. If they don't want me to defend them, I don't care. I disbanded the Titans, but you can't quit being immortal, can you? Now I'm just sitting here waiting for oblivion. They say that forgotten immortals start aging again. So what you see is the slowest suicide in history. Who? Well, you, for example. This way you will get more faith for yourself, right? My adepts now have new gods. You'll do fine without me. If you don't, it's your problem. I won't lift a finger for Aelinar. I can still do some talking, though. You want me to tell you about the enemy armies, so that you know who you're dealing with? These ones look human, but when you cut them open, they're neither mammals nor reptiles, and they have snakes instead of hair. There are immortals among them, and even gods. They've captured about 30 worlds, and they are not stopping anytime soon. Females are in charge of everything. They rule and they fight. Males are their slaves and expendables. Some of my guys had fantasies about being captured by beautiful Gorgonides. One even wrote a book. But this is all nonsense. What's important is that their magic is rather weak. However, their technology is 30 years ahead of ours. Keep that in mind. We have an old feud with Reapers. Their god Thanatos invaded us in Allies' times. Last time they came was 200 years ago. We beat them, but not all of them. There are still too many Reapers hiding in caves and clefts. Too many. So an invasion is just half the problem. They've been nesting all over Aelinar for centuries. They hide, procreate, and wait for their god. Verds are their expendables. They are huge rats. They're not too smart or strong, but they breed like rabbits. Reapers themselves are a whole nother story. They are humans, like us. You shouldn't spread this information, but what they say about them stealing babies is true. They steal and expose them to their nasty magic. Those who survive become Reapers. Those who die turn into carry-ons. If you see a Reaper, then you know it's a civilian that we failed to rescue. Sadly, this is how it works. This is the army of the Integrator, the machine god. They first came here during the Dark Times. His army was devastated, but he himself survived. Now, he's back with his new, advanced fighters. Since he's a god, somebody must be worshipping him. But there are no living creatures in his army, only machines. However, there were cases when the mechanoids abducted humans and took them away. Where? Nobody knows. Your guess is as good as mine. Everybody fights us. Bugs, fish, tin cans, now even flowers. They used to be like us, but then they contaminated their planet so badly that they had to switch to photosynthesis. They transformed themselves with magic to be able to feed on the sunlight and breathe poison. They liked it so much, they can't stop now. They keep on changing. Can you imagine what kind of magic is required for that? If they hadn't given up technology, they would have become unstoppable. They have some kind of sentience. At least they have enough brains to believe in their Machiavan, but it is impossible to understand them. We are completely alien to each other. We are just mud for them. They want to clear the planet of us and turn it into a neat garden. They did that to a dozen worlds already, so keep your eyes open. Actually, there are 2 races, and not 3. Naiads and Ongs are females and males of the same species. Kelps are different from them. But what does anyone care? They are all enemies. They deserve no mercy. You see, the fact that someone can live outside of the ocean is beyond their comprehension. For their god Tolmonter, we are not exactly an enemy, but more of a useless adjunct to their oceans. They are wild fighters with fierce magical abilities. The good thing is, we've seen no immortals among them. Ha! See you. Feel free to come by, but don't try to talk me into joining the ranks again.
I'll fight them myself if I have to.
Again, I have some bad news. Sorry, I'm really sorry. But we can't make the medicine for Laertes. The reports from Ignum only contain formulas and not a single description of technology. Without someone competent around, it's going to take eons before we figure it out. There is one lead, but I wouldn't follow it myself, to be honest. She wouldn't give me the time of day. But you're a different matter. Well, the head of research at Ignum Monastery was Harita. I was surprised myself when I found out. It's so unlike her. But that was definitely Harita. But I'm asking you, please be gentle. There's some personal drama there. I'm not one for gossip, but the girls at the monastery mentioned some things. So, please try to be tactful.
Tell me, how can I help you? What? Ignum? Why? Why are you asking me about Ignum? The shadows of the past don't fade so easily, huh? Well, it is true. There was a time I was part of the research group in Ignum. It was long ago. I chose another path, and I have nothing left to say to you on the matter. There are many. Some of them were even my apprentices. My apprentices. Sometimes the past must stay in the past. Think about it. And now, I think I need to be alone. Please go.
Let's try and find one of Harita's students. They also worked on the project and may know something about this technology. I found a lead on the Eskenian Peninsula. I checked the list of pilgrims. Aris, one of Harita's students, should be here.
You're here. Finally, the gods have abandoned us. Demons, Phytonides, what did we do to deserve this? So many people have died, but we can still save some. Talk to our monitor, Aiden. We need to save as many people as we can. Looks like Aris and the rest left before the trouble started. You'll have to follow their pilgrimage path to find him. I see the group has been here recently.
I see the group's tracks, but no signs of battle. They kept moving, so you'll have to as well. They got attacked. Poor guys. They dropped their belongings to save themselves. We should look around. There's some interesting information in this communicator. I think I know where Aris went. Artonis should be around here somewhere, if the notes in his communicator are anything to go by. He was meeting someone, but I don't know who. Look around the camp.
You're the one who brought me here, you dummy. Easy money. Yeah, right. You gotta stop believing in fairy tales at your age. I would have been better off filling out reports in my lab, which is boring, but so quiet.
Stop whining, you twerp. If it wasn't for me, you'd still be clinging to your mother's skirts. Yeah, we're taking a risk, but so what? Imagine what we'll have. If we sell these crystals, we'll be able to start a new life. Sorry, pal. We don't hold grudges. That's why we're still friends after all these years. Has a buyer sent you? I should warn you. If it was Flavius, you aren't getting anything. We value our reputations. A deal is a deal.
I told you that story with the medicine would come up. Harita was doing an important thing. Too bad it ended like this.
Yes, she's one of those who wastes her talent teaching. Why else would she take up mentoring? If we had put our medicine into mass production, the whole team would be rich and famous.
Thing is, none of us is a technologist. We were testing it. It's too bad we'll miss out on profits, but you'll have to look for our colleagues.
Other colleagues? Nonsense. You need Ilva. The darling. We were still working when she dropped everything and left for the Thandi station. Without any explanation, of course. Like teacher, like student. A complete mystery.
We'll send you all our reports on our patients. Just don't forget about our royalty.
Listen, I know where Ilva is. She works for Flavius at the research center. A lovely girl. I've seen her recently.
I know it must have been difficult to free Bellonia, but you did well. You are growing stronger and faster than expected.